back home after two tough trips.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. Of course, Rodney Parade. There's going to be a really good atmosphere tomorrow, so yeah, it's good to be back on home soil.
Big improvement from Saturday to Tuesday. The Gaffer's talked about.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably touched on it in his after-match interview. Of course, when you look back on the game, there were lots of elements that we were very unhappy with at Salford. Although we don't want to take anything away from the team we played, because I thought they were very good on the day. If you look at the game the previous week, we're well in it against Sutton and so on. And it's, as long as performance levels are high, we can deal with sometimes winning and losing. But when they're not so good, and when we come off what we're good at, it gets a bit frustrating at times. So we need to get back to doing what we do best. We know what we're good at, and it's keeping those strengths. And I thought we saw that in good moments against Grimsby.
And don't we need, because Bradford they're a very good side. You expect them to be up there because they're a massive club.
Well, I think it's great. I mean, these fixtures are the best, aren't they? I mean, playing against top sides with top managers and big crowds, and that's what you live for. That's what you breathe for. And players need to want to play in those type of environments, and we really look forward to this one.
Mark Hughes is touched upon it even last year before you were here, but even to have someone like Mark Hughes in League Two, it's great, isn't it?
I think it's great testament, because when you knock around the lower leagues, League One, League Two for many years, sometimes people might see it as, you know, maybe a bit below them. But I think it's been great. It's great for us coaches. It's great for us ex-managers. And when you have a chance to speak to Mark after games, which I've been lucky enough to do, and other amazing knowledge, and it's a great testament that he's managing in this league, but he's with a club in this league now that will be ambitions are to go back to where they feel they belong, and obviously we need to put a dent in that.
Where was that? You were
previously at Colchester. We played against Bradford a couple of times, so
of course, yeah.
I think he's building something there, and I think, like I said before, it's a great testament to be able to do that.
No, forgot last season. I was thinking of Cup when
everything goes really fast, doesn't it?
I know. So, in terms of them as a side, they will be a test as well, because they are sort of really miserly.
Yeah. I think the data shows that. Yeah. I think the statistics show that. Difficult team to break down. Lots of clean sheets. I think one of the best away records in the division. So taking all that, but then you've got to look at the players as well. They've got danger in many areas. But listen, on any given day, this is League Two, and we know that if we can play at our best and use the atmosphere and really do what we do well, hopefully we can cause some problems.
What do you think what are you doing well now that perhaps you weren't a couple of months ago?
Well, I think since we've come in, I think obviously the Gaffer's touched on it many times. If we keep our intensity, being able to utilise the bench, high energy levels, of course working on our restarts, which have been good for us, and any team will tell you that, but also making sure we stick together as a group and not drop our heads. The point increase since we came in has been a big help to everybody. Of course, it breeds confidence, and any point is very rewarding, if you like, when you're in the situation that we've been in over the past months. So if we can keep creating and keeping that distance between us and obviously the teams that are below us, it's very important. And to maintain that, we have to keep our standards high. We keep banging on about these standards, but I think you've seen that in games where we drop off what we're good at in terms of energy pressing, high intensity. We can maybe drift into an element of bad habits where we can give ourselves some real issues, and one or two goals we've conceded are really disappointing in the last few weeks. But we've got to keep working hard and keep picking the team up and keep going again and focus on our strengths.
It doesn't feel like a relegation battle necessarily, but I guess the problem with League Two is that the drop into National League is so scary for all clubs.
Yeah, well, we tend to focus on, obviously when we come in, there's a reason why we're here, and a lot of water's passed under the bridge now, so we need to focus on what we can do to go forward now in Newport County. We don't talk about the what ifs and the buts. We kind of focus on the next game, this performance levels, and going forward. Your question obviously you know, when you use the words relegation battle, we feel we just have to play every game, and a lot of other clubs will tell you that as well, and we have to do it with limited resources. So we need to stay focused on the next game, and then you know, looking at tables and things like that. Yeah, you can probably glance, but generally you need the next game, because that keeps you focused. And that's where Saturday, Tuesday can sometimes be good, because there is no sit and look back and think, okay, oh, it's not on the next one, and sometimes that's better for us.
As a former fullback, how impressed have you been with Aaron Lewis since you?
I think I'll deal with Aaron first. I think Aaron has been that word utility is a bit outdated now, I suppose, but he's been able to perform in different positions, and we're seeing different skill sets from his positions. And what's going to happen to Aaron is, I think he's going to become a better player from moving 2-3 positions, because it requires a different element of thinking the game. And I think from playing in that left wing back role, his options to be able to play sideways or inside, he's improving on that, and we've been working very hard with him on that. But then when he comes to the middle of the pitch, there's more areas to hit, because when you're a fullback, you've got the touchline to your left, so it's a bit easier. But when you're in the middle, it's like 360. It's like everything, you've got to be swiveling everywhere. And I think that's helped him, because his awareness has got a lot better. So lots of work to do, but certainly improving as a young player. But we've also obviously lost Adam Lewis, and he was another one that was improving. And we also see our right wing back Cameron Norman, who I think has been, again, in terms of the position and what you need from that position, it's a great credit to all their players who've been using that position. I think they've got better.
What were you like as a fullback compared to
them? I started in Division 4, keep that quiet. But I mean, I started in Division 4, and my job was to just get that ball up there and win as many tackles as you can. I didn't develop properly as the kind of fullbacks you see now until probably when I got to about 23.
I was going to say, was it because it's different?
Yeah, it was different. Defend first. Defend first, and that was your job. And if you got over the halfway line, it was, what are you doing there? Hey, get back. But I'm really pleased that you can see the evolution of players now, and being able to, and we see it brilliantly in the game. But you'll always get, oh well, they can't defend. But yeah, I'll tell you what though, they're half good at going forward, and they give you assists and goals, which is, you know, top end of the game. So it's great to see the evolution of a lot of positions. I mean, are there positions anymore? I think looking at the game now, when you study the game, I think it's your role within the team rather than a position. So you can be asked to play somewhere, but your role within that is maybe different than what people might perceive it to be. So I think that's how the game is moving forward.
And with Aaron specifically, I guess, because he's so comfortable on the ball, that's where you probably...
Yeah, I think, well, of course, we need, Aaron has showed his ability to, especially with I think he's got a good right foot, he's got a good eye for a pass. I think what was really good about the Salford game, as the game progressed in the second half, he got himself in the real goal scoring positions, and I think that's another good trait, and we think he can score goals as well, so he's just got to keep working. Yeah, he's doing well.
You like to you've got a background in youth. Kibben Rai got on the pitch after Evan Cadwallader had been on the bench but not got on. How nice is that to see? It's
very rewarding. I mean, it's one thing we pride ourselves on, and that's like the gaffer and I will go and turn up at the academy training sessions unannounced and watch, and I think it's very important that we have that, or the club has that understanding that when you train a young player training, there is a reward if you do it correctly and you can improve yourself. Don't just tick along. And I think we've shown that with one or two of the individuals that have come into the group. Caban now finds himself in a situation where he's made his first appearance in the league. I think he's a young player who has talent, but the key thing is he has the application and attitude to go with it. So we're excited about working with a player like Caban and Evan Cadwallader going forward.
Because we saw that last season, Harrison Bright was given it's that little taste as well. It shows them what they...
But there's a deeper element to it, because we're going to have to supplement. You know, we're not a big club, you know, get it right, we're not a big, huge spending club, so we need to be able to have the right eye to say he can supplement if there's an injury period. So it's not just about, I have a game. You know, we're already thinking, right, what can supplement if we get 4 or 5 injuries? Can these academy young players or development players supplement what we have and then help us? Because it's going to be vital going forward as a club. We can't just make 12, 20 signings. We're going to have to say, look, and to the academy, this is an important role, and you guys have got to coach next player to come through if there's an injury, but we've got to be able to rely on you. I think we've seen that with the bench, as you said, and the loan system helps as well.
Have you've been in? Is the academy good? Do you think?
Well, we've visited now a few times, and we've had the Gaffer's taken sessions as well. So we on a day will invite the under-18s to come in and train with our top-up squad, those who don't play the minutes, and we're able to get them into that more intensive environment of the first team and the Gaffer. So it's important that they feel that and understand the levels that you've got to go in training, and then we'll drop in on their training session and see whether their intensities are good enough, like we were there the other night with 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, and we've already said, yeah, okay. So it's you're not going to produce millions, you're not going to produce so many, it's just that 1 or 2 we can bring in and supplement. And maybe one day you get a return of investment, which would be great, even better, you know.
Injury-wise, how are you looking for?
Injury-wise, we're good. We're one piece of really good news on the injury. Declan Drysdale trained with us yesterday, which was brilliant for Declan, having been out for a period. Obviously modified training, but back in and around the lads, as anyone who understands what it's like to miss a period of time to come back into that environment. Bit of stick, bit of all this kind of getting back in with the guys. So he's back training. We're just waiting on scan results from Ozan Zala, who's unfortunately going to miss out again this weekend. So we're just waiting for some readings to come back off.
Shoulder, is that?
I believe it's the shoulder. I think. Yeah, I believe so.
Deck clearly is not going to rush someone back from knee. Is that?
No, and
next few bit.
Well, I think Matt Baker has shown his versatility in terms of why we brought him in to be able to play midfield or centre back. Obviously, Clarkie's still available. So at the moment, there's he's just got to find his way back in, and we don't want to be rushing people for the breakdown again.
It's boost though, because I think it was looking like it might have been season over, mightn't it? So
yeah, we were concerned about it, but he's like a machine in the gym at the moment. So his attitude to get back fit has been amazing, and it's accelerated, I think. Great credit to the medical team as well, obviously, getting back quick.
It's about a Tranmere game he wants to be back for.
I think he's already trying to get a seat on the couch, whether he's fit or not. So I'm sure he's looking forward to going back to the Wirral. Yeah,
all good, brilliant.
All right.
Joe, what does it, just going back to having Mark Hughes here at Rodney Parade, what does it do for the profile of the league, I guess, to have a guy of his stature?
Yeah, like I said, I think, touching on what I said earlier, I think it's great when managers who have, he's an ex-international manager, let's get it right, you know, it's, and to come and have, you know, have the desire to, it just shows he loves football. Because, I mean, Bradford are a big club. I mean, I think there was 20,000 there the previous week, and I've been there previously, and there's been thousands. I think he knows he can take that club higher, and I think it's great testament, as I've said, for the stature of Mark Hughes and his staff to be able to come down into League Two, stand around in some environments which are tough, but I think that's a mark of someone who loves the game, and you have to have great respect for that, because there's probably people who wouldn't even bother to do that. Let's get it right, you know.
And for you as a management team, you know, how much do you look forward to locking horns with a guy of that, you know, as you said, of that stature, of that experience as well at the very top?
Yeah, it's exciting when you get the mixture of a big club and a big manager, isn't it? You know, and I think that's evident of the league. Bradford are a big club with a huge fan base, good players, and a good management team. So when you get the mix of all that, it just adds extra to the game, and you'll feel it tomorrow, because I think the atmosphere will be really good here tomorrow. And but it's always nice to win those games if you can. You know, it's great, but you know, he'll walk with his team and worry about his team, and we'll worry about ours.
You said you'd come across him before. What have you made of him? Is he a chat after the game? Is he?
He's been brilliant after matches. in the game, fiercely competitive, as you would expect. I mean, come on, you know. Yeah, it's everything you see and on the tin. He wants to win. Gaffer wants to win, and anybody in those positions want to win games, the managers of football clubs. But I found him very respectful after games, and I'm sure, listen, everyone's different, but you've got, again, I think I've said this in a previous press conference I've done, you've got 2 winners on the bench again. So there'll be probably lots of encouragement coming from the bench to everybody. And he's my short experience of meeting him and his staff, I've always found them very good after matches. But listen, I don't know. It's what happens. Whether that happens again, I don't know. I don't know. So look at it's good. We're looking forward to it.
Before you took over at Bradford, was there any? Would you pass across at all in any shape or form, or came even close to crossing?
Maybe years ago when I was a player. I think he was playing for Chelsea when I was playing for. I don't know. I'd have to look back. I'm not going to guess on anything. But not many, no. Like I said, I've spent a lot of my time down League 1, League 2, and
I would with maybe a cup match or something like
he's
that.
been like up somewhere around here somewhere for quite a long time, and so I probably, if it was like it's somewhere in the memory banks, but I think I would have known.
Yeah, you probably still have the scars on your shins. From
I think I played against him once maybe, but like, listen, he's played against a lot. He's played against some top players, so I don't think he worries about Joe Dunne.
No, I wonder whether your paths across at an earlier time.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the job now here, you mentioned about limited resources, things like that. Is this a bigger challenge than perhaps you guys thought, or has anything surprised you or not?
Surprised. We work on the management, no surprises. We try to make sure we're prepared for everything. We had absolutely understanding about when you come to a situation that we found ourselves in. There's reasons for that, so not everything's going to be smooth, and not everything's going to be perfect. And you know, you have to take time to maybe iron one or two things out. We're still finding that. You know, we're finding issues that we need to find solutions to quickly, and I think that'll continue. I think that'll go into the summer. I think that'll go into next season. I think that will always be the situation, because when you're dealing with the stature of teams that we're playing against with better resources in terms of what they can recruit and so on, you're always up against it. So that will never change. That's every level, I think. That's Premier League, that's League 1, League 2 Championship, even into the National League, as we can see right now. So challenges, yeah, there always are challenges, and I think there's obviously a structure that we want to build. The Gaffer is real passionate about building a structure here, and it's slowly. And
that's where you, as you mentioned about the academy, that's it, the best way you can always compete with the rest of some of the big clubs, isn't it, by producing your own? Well,
you'll always, every academy, no matter what level, like of course, when you pump so much into an academy or you're Cat 1, you're going to produce probably a better pool to pick from, but then also that pool can go to Championship League 1 and you get a return of investment on it. When you drop down to Cat 2s, 3s especially, which Cat 3, you've got to hold on to your best ones, unless you've got a clear desire to go, well, we're going to get a few quid for him at a young age. And that's where it becomes even tougher, because you've got to be really selective, because the last thing, one of the biggest things you can do, I believe, is waste a young player's career. Like, the players have got to have opportunity. If it's not at your club, they need to grow at another club. So when we're selecting academy players, they've got to be of the stature to be able to hold their own, and that's not easy these days. It's not easy these days, because we see many things changing in young people's lives and how they react to disappointment. And it's very important we select the right ones.
And just finally, interesting that you said you try, well, you kind of avoid looking at the tables that much, or perhaps dwelling on the tables and mentioning things like words like relegation battle, things like that. Is that all part of the psychology of how you just keep building up players and making them focused on the game rather than
Well, I think so, yeah. I think that's because obviously, again, not so long ago it was a real. It's there when it's palpable. It's like it's there, isn't it? And everyone can feel it, and there's no hiding from that. The advantage of the previous month we've had, where we've won some games, has got us that little bit of a gap. And it's very important that when you're working in these areas, you've got to keep the team focused on the next game. It's all about performance. If the performance is good, generally results follow. And we've tried to focus constantly on performances. That's why there's frustrations after Salford, where that's not the performance levels that we want. When we come off it against good teams especially, that's why tomorrow we'll have to be on it. You're going to get punished. But we want to make sure everything pushes forward rather than keep looking back and what ifs. Like, it's a waste of time spending your energy and resources and your head in those spaces. We've got to keep on next game, because it's better for you, and it's better for the team, and it's better for development, and it's better to make players better, and getting across your message.